All right. Here we are, episode 25 of Gear Talk. Gear Talk is the show that I do every other week, live on YouTube. I export the audio to the podcast where I talk about skate gear. Anything having to do with skates, so wheels, bearings, frames, boots, liners, bearing spacers. We got pretty deep on bearing spacers the other week. Anything that I can talk about that people ask questions throughout the week. You know, I'm in a really nice position that people can ask me questions, and because I have so many people asking me questions, I learn a lot every week, and I'm able to share that knowledge with other people. And this is a place where I can kind of take all of the questions that I got asked throughout the week, and I can share the answers so that everybody can get educated, not just me. So thank you all for joining. If you are on the live stream and you have a question, I absolutely love answering your questions live. We do record this live on YouTube Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, every other Wednesday. And I would love for more people to join us. It's a really cool community that joins the live chat. Obviously, time zones are a little weird. I know a lot of you are in Europe, and that would be like 2 a.m., and that's a little early for some of us. But if you can make it, would love to have you. If you have questions in the live chat, please make sure that you tag me on them with the ampersand, the @ back to blading. That way it's a little easier for me to see it in the feed. I want to get to your questions. I don't want to miss anything, so make sure that you tag me in any question so that I know where they are. All right, so what I wanted to do is, this is episode 25, and every Gear Talk has been kind of around a theme, I guess. There's been something new or something that I'm testing that I wanted to share, or some question that I got that was super good and probably not a lot of people knew the answer to, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. But I wanted to start adding a new section of Gear Talk where I can talk about the current setups that I'm on and why I'm on them and what I think of them. I get a lot of questions from people who watch my skating and they say, you are falling on the same tricks again. It's taken you a while to get a top acid, and it has. And the recommendation is always, well, why don't you stick to the same skates? It must be really hard for you to learn tricks if you're always changing skates every other week. And it absolutely is. Last time I did Gear Talk, I was skating the Aeon 60s, and now I'm skating the USD 7s. And it is a very different skate. And that's not a bad thing. I love changing things up, but it does definitely make it difficult to learn tricks because I'm not used to my skates. It takes me a few sessions to get used to the groove, the angles, the feeling of the skate. The reason that I do it is because I always want to learn. I love making hardware, but I also love skating different hardware and testing different things. So I love changing skates and learning what every skate is like and sharing that knowledge with you guys. I think it's important that since we don't have shops anymore, if I have access to all these different skates, I should let people know what I think of all the skates in comparison to the others. Because then you know what skates are best for you. It's really hard without a shop. You don't have that trusted place where you can walk in and say, hey, I used to skate a K2 Fatty. What should I skate now? What's the answer? It's hard for anybody to know just looking at a Roller Warehouse catalog to know which skates to get. So I try to do that, and I try to test all the skates, and I try to get out there and say, this is what I like about this skate, this is what I like about this skate. And every week or so, I change the setup a little bit. So I'll swap out a frame, or I'll change the wheels, or I'll go from flat to anti-rocker, or I'll change the boots. So I wanted to start every episode of Gear Talk from now on with a quick review of the skates that I'm skating for aggressive and the skates that I'm skating for urban. If there haven't been any changes, then I won't talk about it. But this week, I'm skating 2 new skates, and I want to talk a little bit about them and why and what I like about them. So first, starting with urban. Urban's a really interesting one. Typically for me, urban means anything that's like an 80 or above. I've skated urban for a while, and urban could be like free skate or power blading back in the days. I don't really know what you want to call it, but it's basically, in my definition, it's above recreational. Recreational to me is you're skating along the beach, or you're skating, with some friends around the city, and you're not really charging. You're not really skating hard. You're just skating for fun. Maybe it's like a little fitness thing, or maybe it's just a good social activity. And that, for me, is recreational. I think recreational and fitness can kind of merge pretty close. I think urban is that next step of recreational, that next step of fitness, where you're going more aggressively, but with recreational urban skates. So for me, I had been skating the Seba CJ with the 80 millimeter ground control frames. So, I've swapped between a few different frame setups with these skates. The Seba CJ, in my opinion, are probably some of the best urban skates. The carbon boot is really responsive, and it feels really solid when you're skating. Kind of similar to a hockey skate, which for me, that's my background. So I want that responsiveness that I get. If you have an aluminum frame on this, all the better. The nice thing about it is, without a sole plate, the ride height is super low. So you can kind of see in the camera, the wheels are only like 2 mil above the area where it would rub on the boot. I mean, it's almost as low as you can get on this boot. And there's no sole plate, so there's no distance between the boot and the frame. It's really just boot and frame. And that carbon being so rigid, you mount an aluminum frame on there, you're not going to get any flex. This is a really great setup. This is the setup that they recommend for mushroom blading, so wizard skating and stuff like that. Is there a difference between wizard skating and mushroom blading? Discuss in the comments. I think that the Seba is the best skate for anything like that because it's UFS. You could probably get away with some free skate options like, the Powerslide Imperial or the Next or the Flying Eagle F7 or, any one of those, but it's not UFS, which means you can't ride wizard frames. And you can't put an internal shock absorber in there. And this thing has a slight internal shock absorber, so it feels better when you're landing gaps. It feels better when you're going over rocky terrain. Now, I've skated this boot with this, now I'm skating with a 4x80s. I've skated this boot with the Wizard NR 100s, which is a 4x100 setup. I've skated it with a 3x100, which was my ground control tri-skate frame, I think they call it, which is 3x110. I skate it with 100s because it feels better, and you can't really fit 110s in here. This is a V1 frame, and the 110s will rub on the boot. For me, I think that the 4x80 is probably the best setup. I think that the 3x100 is nice, and wizard skates are very different than anything else. For me, it's not the right setup. For a lot of people, it's the only setup. The wizards or the R100s, those are very different feelings, and they're amazing feelings, but for me, that's not an urban thing. That's something completely different. When I skate urban, I want a shorter wheelbase. So this is 270, which is really nice for me. And I want to have a low center of gravity. So 4x80, that's a really good feeling. But I'm not skating these right now. What I am skating are these Aeon 72s. So Aeon 72, you say, isn't that an aggressive boot? Well, that's the question. So the Aeon 72 is a really interesting skate. If you're not aware, the USD Aeon is it's an aggressive line. So it started with the USD Aeon 60, and I think they introduced the 72 at the same time. Those skates are designed for aggressive skaters. So they have an H block. They have a sole plate. They have countersunk axles. They have a 45-degree strap. They have a low center of gravity. They have a big open area so you get that style. You can crank down those laces. It is an aggressive boot, but the 72 is a little big for doing grinder blader stuff. It feels fine, and I'm okay with doing it, but I had a really hard time when I was testing these initially doing Royale tricks. The reason is that because you have a 72 mil wheel, this H block is so tall that you have to get really low to get boot down on a Royale. the angle, do I have my rail? Oh, I just had it. Where did it go? Oh, it's in the bin. There it is. Let me get it. All right. So the angle is pretty intense. You can see that. That's boot down for a Royale. And yeah, that's pretty intense. Compare that to, what's another good example? Compare that to like a K2 Fatty, for example. I don't know what this one's going to be like. It's probably just as bad. This is actually pretty bad too. The groove is so high on this frame. I don't know if... I haven't skated these K2 Fatties in a long time. The fact that this K2 Fatty has such a deep Royale groove and the backslide plate is so deep, and this H block is basically flush, it makes a really high Royale. I find it really difficult to do. So for me, I want to have a little bit more forgiveness when I'm doing Royales. I don't want to have to get down that low, which is why for grinder blading, I'm skating the USD 7. I'll get to that in a little bit. But here's the Aeon 60. So this was the Aeon 60 shell. And using that same pole, you can see the angle is much more forgiving. This might be like a 45 degree, maybe less than a 45 degree, like a 30 degree. This Aeon 72 is pretty deep. Probably more like a 50 degree. So, it's not really good for grinder blading. If you're going to session a ledge, 72 mil wheels flat is probably not the right setup for you. You want something anti-rocker. You want something, low, like a 60 mil wheel or lower. That's what you want for grinder blading. This isn't a grinder blading setup for me anymore. This is an urban setup. I skated this and did a video edit that should be out in the next week or so. And I had so much fun skating these skates. They are fast. So 72 mil wheels are fast. They don't have the coast that an 80 would have or that a 100 would have. Hundreds, the nice thing about hundreds, if you skate, you can just kind of coast. And you get to that top speed and you kind of maintain that top speed. It's a really amazing feeling. 80s, much less so. You can get to top speed and you kind of slow down. I kind of liken 80s to what it feels like to go ice skating, where all the power that you put in, you kind of get back. Ice skating, obviously, there's much less friction, so you can just coast for days on an ice skate. It's not like that, but it's pretty good. If you were comparing an 80 to a 100, the big difference for me is the coast is a lot less on an 80. But a 72 is pretty good. It's got some coast. It doesn't have the same top speed. It doesn't have the same longevity, the same coast as an 80 would. But the benefit is that you're on 72 mil wheels. So I do have space in the middle to do groove tricks. And with this USD Aeon, I've got a lot of space. So this thing, this is like a 4-finger gap. This is a 270. So this is the size 910 shell. This is a 270 front to back wheelbase. And it is super low. It's so low that I was rubbing on the liner when I was skating. There's this plastic insert that you put in, kind of like a footbed, but it's made of a really thin sheet of plastic. That keeps your liner from getting sucked into the wheel. The wheels stick through and into the boot of this skate. It is incredible. So you can't really get much lower. And with a 72 mil wheel, this feels like a 60 mil wheel, like if you were skating a 60 mil flat on, regular UFS skates. The beauty is that you can still do grinds. So I had a really good time skating. I could skate fast. I could do wall rides. I could do stair rides. I could do banks. I could do gaps. 72 mil wheels feel amazing. This has an internal shock absorber. It felt amazing. But I could also do soul tricks, kind of do Royale tricks. It is a really versatile skate for urban. So when I'm not going to the park to do grinder blading, this is when I'm going to skate. If I'm not skating distance, I'm going to skate this USD Aeon for a while. I think that is a really good compromise. So whenever I do an urban edit, whenever I go out and skate, and I just want to session a city, explore the city, I'm going to skate this skate. I think this is the right skate for me. For grinder blading, though, so a couple weeks ago, I started testing the Sorry, a couple weeks ago we got the 5885A 50/50 wheels in, and I've been skating those to see how long they would last. And I skated them for 2 weeks on the USD Aeon 60 and took pictures just so that I could document. 85A is pretty soft. There's a lot of people who are a little nervous that 85A might be too soft. So I wanted to see how long they would actually last. So I skated them flat. I skated them for 2 weeks for about an hour and a half each session. Not crazy long. I know a lot of you go out and skate all day. I don't have that luxury. I go out and skate. I can get an hour, maybe an hour and a half out of it, and then I got to go home and be dad and take care of the family and stuff. So I skated them for 2 weeks, and then I changed them into the USD 7 with the 50/50 frame. And I skated that for a session, and it was a great feeling. 2 sessions. I think I skated 2 sessions. It was a great feeling. Being able to skate flat 58 is a lot of fun, especially when you have a really solid frame, like a balance frame, like an Aeon, something that's really going to have a good rigidity and a good power transfer. It feels great. But then I got some 88A samples. So 85A is soft. I'm the first to admit it. And I wanted to see what the difference was between 85A and 88A. 88A is kind of the softest that you can get aside from the 50/50 wheel. Most wheel companies will come in and release a wheel in around 90A. That's kind of the standard. Some of them will do 88. So I think Eulogy does 88, Undercover, Dead. Who else does an 88? A few other companies probably do 88s I can't think of. But 88 is pretty soft. And they might not be the best sellers. I don't know. I think 90 is kind of the standard. 90 is pretty populated though. So I wanted to see what 88 felt like. So I got some 88 samples. And I skated them twice last weekend. Same setup. I put them on the balance frames on a USD 7 and had a really great time skating them. I think that the 88 is probably the right wheel for most people. It is a little bit faster because the squish that you get on an 85 does absorb some of that, so you don't have the power transfer that you would get with an 88 or a harder wheel. It's probably going to last a little bit longer. The 85 definitely shows sign of wear after the first couple of sessions. These 88s didn't show very much wear after a couple sessions. And there was still good grip, so it felt like I was able to carve up on a wood ramp fairly well. It felt like I was able to carve up on a quarter pipe fairly well. I didn't have any issues with grinds. I didn't stick on anything. You could hear the squeak whenever I was too upright on groove tricks, and you can slide on that side of the wheel. It's kind of by design, the way that the wheel profile is. It lets you slide. Same thing happens if you're trying to do slides on fresh wheels, 100s or 80s or something like that. As soon as you get off that outside layer, it starts to feel really good and it doesn't make that sliding sound. But until then, it's gonna squeak, and that's just the way that it is. So yeah, I was pretty happy with them, but I wanted to see how good they were for all around skating. And I'm not the greatest skater, so I sent a set of the 88s. I only got 8 wheels in, so I sent 4 of them up to my friend Stefan Brando, who is going to be testing them. I think they get in on Friday. So he's going to be testing them anti-rocker, and I said, you know what? If I've got 4 left, I'm going to skate them anti-rocker too. So here is my USD 7s. So I set them up with these are the 88s, 58 millimeter 88A. As you can see on the video, they've still got so much wear. I mean, you can still see the flat up top. You can see the slight angle. This rear wheel is the same rear wheel. So I just gave him the middle wheel. So this was my front wheel. This was my rear wheel. This is the side that I wear down fastest. And you can still see pretty well that there's a lot of wear left on this wheel. It almost looks like a fresh wheel. The only change is it doesn't have that little angle. You can still see the mold mark on the front wheel. Can't see the mold mark on the back, but they're in really good shape. So I'm going to skate them with juice blocks and see what they're like. I've never skated these wheels anti-rocker, so I'm really curious to see if they're going to feel good. They're not designed for anti-rocker. This this profile isn't designed to skate anti-rocker. You can do it, and a lot of people do, and a lot of people really like it. I've never skated at anti-rocker. Especially with an 85A, if you're not skating a wood skate park, I don't know that anti-rocker is the right thing. I think you need an 88A. So I'm going to test it. So I'm going to start skating these this weekend. Actually, tomorrow I get to take the day off of work, and I get to meet up with a friend, and we're going to go skate. We'll probably skate some skate park. We'll probably skate some indoor park, maybe a little street. And give these a try. I'm really loving the USD7. I don't know if I've mentioned that 1,000 times. But for me, this is probably the best aggressive skate on the market. I recommend it a lot, and I got a lot of email and messages from people asking where can they find a USD7, because it's really difficult to find now. These ones are the 2017 model. These are the ones with the yellow MyFit and the yellow highlights. They don't make these anymore. You might be able to find a few of them. I think Grindhouse has some, but then, if you're in the States, you're going to have to import. But if you're over in the EU, it's probably worth looking around. Grindhouse is probably, a spot that has them. But I emailed Powerslide and I said, hey, I love these skates and I recommend them a lot. It would be a shame if they were to go away because I think that a lot of people would like these skates. I think that these skates got a bad rep. I think that Powerslide has such a huge product line that it's hard to distinguish between each of the different skates. Like, what's the difference between this and a Sway? Well, they look very similar. I could tell the difference. Can somebody who holds it up tell the difference? Probably not. So I think that this is a much better skate than the Sway, and the thing is it's probably around the same price. So this is around $200 or so in the shop. I think the Sway is like a 180 or something. Negligible difference. I think it's totally worth getting the upgraded USD7. Powerslide got back to me and they said, don't worry, we are not getting rid of the USD7. We still have some in stock at our warehouse. We're limited on sizes, but we are going to do another run as soon as we run out. So there is a future for the USD7. I looked around and there were a few in stock at Roller Warehouse. You can also find the Roman Abrate skate, which is a USD7 with a skin around it. Not really my style. I don't really like the look of the Roman Abrate. I think that the skin is a little excessive. I think that it would be cooler if it was just a colored boot with maybe like the Roman decal or something on the side, but we don't have that option, So if you're looking for a USD7, that is your best bet. Get the Roman Abrate skate. Otherwise, you can find the USD Clan, the USD7 Clan, at a few different places. Sizes are a little difficult, but if you look over in Europe, you might be able to find them. Rest assured, though, that they are not going away. They are going to stick around. Powerslide doesn't have any goal of discontinuing them. They're just trying to manage inventory, as you can imagine. You've got a lot of carbons coming in, a lot of Aeons coming in, so it's really difficult for them to stock every single one of their skates. But this skate is not going anywhere, so it will be back. And this is what I'm skating. So this is my aggressive setup: USD7, large 50-50 frames with juice blocks, and some prototype 88A 58mm 50-50 wheels. All right, it is extremely hot here in the garage today, so I'm going to be dripping through my shirt. I brought a drink and a towel so that I can dry my face from all the sweat so that I don't look super ridiculous on the camera. I hope everybody is having a great week. Starting off summer. I guess it's still spring, but it's going to be summer soon. Let me take a look at the comments real quick and see if anybody has any questions before I get on to the next set. All right. Hardcore inliner. Will you be considering making some harder compass compounds? That is a great question. Absolutely. So I don't have any of the samples here, but when I got the 88A samples for the 50-50 58s, I also got some 88 samples for 72s and for 100s. 72s is kind of a no-brainer. If I were skating these skates, we skated a lot. So we skated all over downtown Durham. And With 85A, I can already see the wear on these, and I need to rotate my skates, rotate my wheels. That is fine. I mean, that's what wheels are supposed to do. But I think that an 88A might be a little better if you're doing long distance sort of stuff. So I have some 88A samples that I'm going to be testing as soon as I can swap these out. I also got some hundreds. I'm not really sure what the hundreds are going to feel like. 88A seems like a little hard for hundreds. I think that the longer wear might be nice, but I kind of like that cushion, especially since a 100 mil wheel. If you look at a 100 mil wheel, the amount of urethane on 100 is actually not that much. So this core, it actually extends. I think this is 100, and I think this core is a 90. No, it's like an 83 or something like that. Some weird number. I don't know the core numbers off the top of my head, but the visible part is like an 80. And then it extends up into the wheel so that the wheel has these little, like, usually a core kind of looks like a mohawk. So the mohawk would have holes in it. And when they pour the urethane goes in as a liquid, right? And it fills the holes, which kind of makes these little hooks into the core. And there's different ways that you can have that core. That's pretty much the most popular, common way, just little holes in kind of a mohawk style, like a UFO. And then the urethane molds onto that and bonds onto that, and then it'll stick around. So the core actually goes pretty high. The core on this, with this being an 85, isn't bad. It'll wear, but it's not bad. I don't know if an 88 is a good idea or not, but I got them just to test them. I'm not going to say no. I think that 88 is an interesting size or interesting hardness, and I really enjoyed skating them flat 58s. I'm curious what the 72s are going to feel like, and definitely want to test these hundreds out and just see what they feel like. So yes, definitely experimenting with different compounds and hardnesses. I can see 88 coming, definitely for a 72, because personally that's the size of wheel that I ride, and I can see having an 88 having an advantage over an 85 in some situations. Oh, this garage is so wet. D Mizzle 311. Now that you are more comfortable skating, have you ever thought about going back on your Razor SLs? Unfortunately, I sold my SLs. That was the only skate that I sold. I think I traded it in after I bought my shifts, and I don't know what I got, but I traded it back to Long at Oak City, and I think I got some bearings and some wheels and stuff like that. This was before I was doing any of the Gear Talk stuff, so I didn't really have a thought about keeping skates. This was also before 50/50 was back, so I didn't even think about testing or anything like that. I just thought, these skates are sitting around, why not sell them, get rid of them? And I didn't want to keep them. So I don't have those old SLs. I do plan on getting a new pair of SLs. I think that the SL is very comparable to the USD 7 in a lot of ways. It is a inexpensive shell. It has an internal shock absorber. It has a flat sole. It has a sole plate. I think that there's a lot of comparisons there. So I really want to skate them again and see what they feel like. I think that I'll still like the 7 more, but I think that the SL has a lot of potential. It's on my list. I don't know what number it is on my list, but it's on my list. So definitely stay tuned. I'll be getting a pair of SLs in the near future. I don't know when. All right. Let me open this package. So, fun story. Let's see. How do I start this? So, I've been getting weird stuff in the mail for quite a while. I've gotten frames, I've gotten wheels, I've gotten skates, I've gotten things that people, they watch the show or they listen to the podcast and they know what I talk about. And they're like, oh, I have a pair of these that you would like. I have a pair of these that you would like. Let me send them to you. It's awesome. I love getting packages. I love seeing people's stuff and being able to share their stuff, it probably means something to them. Rest assured that it's not going anywhere. I'm not selling any more of my skates. I made that mistake once. It will be here, so if you send me something, and you ever need it back, it's in good hands. But it's great to be able to see this old stuff. I rarely get new stuff. It's usually vintage stuff. But I've been talking with my friends up in Canada about the frames that they've been working on. And they sent me a pair, and I would love to share them with you. So here we go. So this envelope came in. I have my box knife. All right, are we ready for the big reveal? Wow, what is this? Oh my goodness. So these are the, I don't know what you want to call them, mushroom blading big block frames. So these things are crazy. I've seen them in multiple different phases for the last, I don't know how long, months or so, almost a year maybe. And I've never held them, obviously. I've never seen them in person, obviously. There's only been a handful of them available. These things look incredible. So, a couple of the specs. Maximum of a 65 millimeter wheel. They have the rocker, the 6-way rockers, so you could skate them however you want. Very similar to my R100s. You could rocker them banana, you could rocker them, in a fake wizard, you could rocker them however you want. Super adjustable. They are fairly long. So this 1, 2, 4 is, I brought my ruler out. This 1 to 4 is 287 or so. Compared to my large balance frames, they're long. So they're going to extend a little bit further over the front and the back of the skates. But similar to the Wish frame, because you have this rocker, you can make it so that if these two wheels are a little lower and these wheels are a little higher, it doesn't feel as long. You got that rocker, so you've got this as your effective wheelbase, or even these 3 wheels as your effective wheelbase, or these 3 wheels as your effective wheelbase. And between these 3 wheels, you're looking at 228 or so. That's not bad. That's really short. And then you've got this little wheel in the back to hold you back from falling back. What else can I say? So it has axle protection. I know a lot of you will think that you wear through these really quickly and hit the axles. Not true. There's a lot of axle protection here. So you don't have any problems with that. They're going to be fine for a long time. The big block, this thing is huge. So this is like a Wish frame on crack. I mean, it's just this huge wedge that is multi-tiered. So it's not a round feeling. There's like different flat angles, which I would imagine is really good for, when you're doing groove tricks, you can kind of get into your angle, make a little bit of wear and kind of grind in so that you can make your own groove. But it does come with a little, like a thumb press, like a kiss at the top. So when you're skating a ledge for the first time, it'll start that groove for you. It's kind of like the training wheel to start the groove for you. Features the mushroom blading logo on top, of course. The H-block is well supported, and it has been certified by the Aggressive Skaters Association, 50% core. Very cool. So, and it says skater on it. That's really cool. So, any questions about these? So, first of all, Joey and Todd, this is amazing. I am, very privileged to have these. These have a remarkable story behind them. I don't know all of the details, but what I can say is that this was a collaboration between the guys up at the Mushroom Blading thing and K2. So if you remember back in the days, they did some, so the Mushroom Blading channel had some testing, and they had testing for the R100. And you'll remember seeing some of those videos, and they were always skating K2 skates. They worked really closely with the people over at K2, and they helped design the R100 and make it so that they were good. They were testing the R100 to make sure that it was good. And it came out really good. I mean, it's a great frame. It's not a frame for me, but it's a great frame if you want a 4x100 and you don't want to spend wizard money. So from what I understand, this was a project that they were working on next. So they said, hey, we've made this R100. We would love some feedback on a new aggressive frame. So if you remember, the current K2 frame is this thing. So I have these. This is the large one. This is the really large front street. This is what, a 295 or something like that. If you look at the front streets, can I get the front street off? There we go. If you look at the front street, this is a better example. So this is the current K2 frame. This is the frame that ships on the Unnaturals now. You could see a very similar feel to this, right? So you've got that wheel bite protection, but in this case, super wheel bite protection. You got the six-way rocker. In this case, same six-way rocker. I think that they wanted to just see what was possible, what's next. You know, if we wanted to make this frame better, what could we do? So one of the things that they did is they said, you know what, UFS, that's not our problem. We're just going to make the frames a little taller. So if I don't have any 65s, but if I had some 65 mil wheels, I would show you that the wheels actually ride above the UFS bolt. So you can see the bolt in here. If this were all the way down, it would rub on the bolt. So what they've done is they've raised it so that it doesn't rub on the bolt. And that's not, you know, that's what the Wish frame does. So the Wish frame, very similar. So this is a Wish frame. You can see the length of the Wish frame and the length of the big block, very similar. We're talking maybe 10 mil difference. Maybe 10 mil difference. Maybe 5. I mean, it's super, super close. And the split, very similar. Let's measure it since I've got a ruler. So this split is like 156 or so. The Wish is like 146 or so. So this split is a little bit bigger. I bring this up because the Wish frame, you know, it rides 60 millimeters on the inside, 72s on the outside. The reason they do that is they want to provide the lowest ride possible while still skirting that UFS bolt. The big block, they don't care about the lowest ride possible. They just did flat 60s. So if this Wish frame had the same split, and if it were just flat 65s, it would look very similar to this. It would just have a 65 here and here. This wheel would be lower, and the ride height would be higher. But by what, 3 mil, 4 mil? Is that going to make that much of a difference? I don't know. So I really want to skate these. I need to find some good 65 millimeter wheels. I think there's hardware in here as well to skate them. I got to try them out. I think that it would be a shame to not skate these. The way that I skate, it's not like I'm going to destroy them anytime soon. When will these be on sale, they ask? Well, that is the sad part. So as far as I have heard, these frames will never see mass production. They will make a small amount of frames, but I don't know that this project is going anywhere. It is a shame because I know that they've spent a lot of time and effort putting these frames together. This was more like a sample. I think you've probably seen some of the pictures that they've posted on the Instagram in the past. K2 loves to experiment. They do a lot of their prototyping in-house. These are prototype frames. And I think that they succeeded, at least from what I can tell, they've succeeded in building a really fun looking frame to skate. But I don't know that this is going to make it on a skate. I don't know that this is going to make it as an aftermarket frame. I don't think K2 really sells aftermarket frames. So the future is very uncertain. I know that there will be a few available. Not a lot. I'm talking dozens, not hundreds. If you are at all interested in these, definitely follow the Mushroom Blading Instagram and the Facebook. I don't know that there will be a video announcement, but that would be the best way to get more information on these frames. Obviously, I'm going to do a first impressions as soon as I get some good 65s in. Give me a couple of weeks, and I'll skate them. I mean, there's no rush. It's not like these are coming out anytime soon. But yeah, they're great. Again, thanks to Joey and Todd for sending these to me. This is an amazing, thing in rollerblading history that this actually happened. I love that the logo's here. I hate that they're not going to make a ton of them so that other people can experience them. I love options. One of the things that I love most about skating is being able to test all the different gear. And that definitely hinders my performance, my ability to get better. But I don't really care that much about it. I love skating. And being able to put these on and try something new, that's what I'm here for. And these are going to be something new. I'm really excited to skate these. So definitely stay tuned. Give me a couple of weeks. I'm going to do what I can with these and report back. Does anybody have any questions that I didn't answer on the big blocks? I'd love to answer any questions that I might have. Getting delusional, so hot. I would love to answer any questions that you might have, not I might have. Let me go through and see if there's any questions. All right, here we go. Remember, if you are asking a question, it's really hard for me to see without tagging me. So when you tag me, it comes up in orange. Please tag me if you have a question. I'm here to answer questions. I might not have all the answers, but I would love to chat if you have questions. Just make sure that you tag me in it so that I can actually see it. Otherwise, it's just a wall of text. And it might be fine if you guys are watching it, but scrolling through a ton of text is really difficult. Angela, excuse me. Since there's talk about the Inkitos, will you be testing those in the near future? I'm thinking a comparison with the Solos or converting your Flying Eagles to aggressives with the Inkitos. That's interesting. Those look really interesting to me. Yes, I do want to get a set. I think we've talked about it before in the past. I don't know what the market is for that skate, but I really want to explore it. If, like my Aeon 72s, if the market is for people who just want to skate around, maybe do some urban, and just have fun skating, that might be a really good market. I don't have anything about the frame. I don't know anything about the frame. I know that the height is going to be something different. It is a sole plate on top of a boot that creates a UFS mount. That means that it's going to be taller than most skates. Is it going to make a difference? I don't know. I got to test that. But if all you're doing is skating around your city and doing an occasional sole grind or a frontside or something like that, it's probably fine. That's what these skates are for. And granted, I love these skates because I can skate 72s, I can skate really fast, I can still do soles, and this groove is amazing, and it's super low. But if you were a fitness skater and all you needed was a sole plate, slap it on and get some smaller frames, and that becomes your new setup, and you can do some sole grinds and stuff like that, more power to you. I know that Seba made a sole plate for their, what was it called? One of their fitness skates. I don't really know the Seba fitness line. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. But they made a sole plate. So definitely there are people out there who want to do sole tricks with fitness skates. I don't know how big that population is. But the Inkito looks interesting to me. I think it's the first one that was really trying to cross the line between the two. The Solo is a really good comparison. The Solo, if you were skating with a big wheel frame and you had sole plates, that's exactly what they were trying to get at. If you had an 80 millimeter frame or like a 72 mil Kaiser Level 3-1, and then you had the sole plate, there you go. That's like what the Ankito's trying to do, I think. So yeah, I definitely want to test them. I got a lot of skates that I need to test, but it's on my list. All right. So is that from Wizard 2, Hardcore Inliner? I don't know what that means. My assumption is that you mean the Wizard skating guys. The mushroom blading guys aren't part of the Wizard thing. They kind of, it's a weird relationship, but they definitely had a lot to do with the testing and the development of the Wizard frame. The Wizard frame is from Leon Basson from Shop Task. He is the mastermind behind the Wizard frame. He does all of the, he's the owner. He's the guy that makes the frame. I would say that Todd and Joey, the mushroom blading, so the logo, and whenever you go to mushroomblading.com or you go to the YouTube, that's Todd and Joey. That is kind of like the Wizard team. I don't know if they really have a team. They have a lot of people who skate Wizard frames. And I know that they've provided a lot of feedback on the development of the Wizard frame. So I think that it's more of a Leon going through and doing the stuff that he needs to make good frames, and then giving them to Todd and Joey after Leon finds the frame that he likes and saying, hey, try this, let me know what you think. I think that's the relationship. This frame has nothing to do with a Wizard company. It is a completely separate thing altogether. It was a project that they were working with K2 on. Yes, Angela would love to see comparison with Wish. Definitely, those two look very similar. I'm really curious personally what the feeling is like skating a flat 65 versus skating a flat rocker with 72 and 60. I feel like the 72s are really nice, but I feel like they need to be in the right setup. The Aeon 72 for me feels really great. I don't know if I feel the same skating the Wish frame. I think that the Wish frame for me is more grinder blading. I don't know if it's the length of the Wish frame or what, but I'm really curious what the top speed is going to be like, what the coast is going to be like. I always talk about the big wheels and having big wheel coast. I'm really curious what that skating speed is going to be like with a flat 65 or a rockered 65 and the Wish, which is kind of like a flat 72-60. Super curious, but yeah, there's a lot to test. I think these are going to be a really fun project for probably a good month of skating. Adam Levinson, have you ever skated Megas or Bigs as a point of reference to your big block? No, but I am planning on getting a pair of Megas. So as soon as I can get some 65s, I'm going to get some Megas, and I'm going to skate these. I'm going to skate the Megas. Anything that I can find that is a 65 I want to test, just to see what it's like. I really think that 65 is a really good size. After skating the 58s, I know that the 58s are great for fast acceleration, but I want to have a little bit more coast. And I feel like there's that middle ground. I think that 72s is a really great feeling, but 72, unless you have an Aeon, it's really hard to get a good split so that you can do groove tricks. I feel like 65 might be that sweet spot. I think 68 might be a little big, but 65 might be that sweet spot where you can get a little bit more big speed than a 60 or a 58, but a little bit less coast than a 72, but you get a better groove than a 72. I don't know, but I'm very curious at what a 65 performance feels like. Definitely going to get the Megas and give those a shot. What else is out there? Symmetrics, I guess. That's kind of a weird one though, because don't you need like a Symmetrics sole plate as well? It's complicated. Yeah, 65 is a weird size. I think it might be that secret size that everybody needs, but nobody has access to. So nobody skates it. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm really curious, how they perform on these. Now that I have a pair of frames that accommodate 65, I got to get some 65 mil wheels. So gonna start my test and see if I can find some good ones, and then yeah, who knows, megas, and who knows what next. John Stevens. I love all these new frames, but I still haven't found the frame for me. Closest has been the 72 mil Cultic Freestyles, but I really want something anti. I hate skating flat. That's a lot to unpack. So you hate skating flat, so you're going to skate anti-rocker. That's cool. 72 Cultic Freestyles. So I wonder what the nice thing is about the Cultics that you liked. If it's the groove, you can probably find different freestyle frames like the Type, what's it called, Type X, something like that. There's a few different freestyle frames out there still. I mean, obviously the either Crate Originals with blocks or the 50/50 frames with juice blocks are a good compromise to freestyle. It doesn't have that deep groove that you get with a freestyle frame, but it's not bad. I really liked the Kaiser Fluid frame. I thought that the Fluid frame was a really good anti-rocker wheel, or anti-rocker frame. Um, yeah, that's a tough one. I don't know what you don't like. So 72 mil wheels is going to be the weird one about it. If you're skating 72s freestyle, I don't really know. I don't know how to talk to you. That's a very different setup than I'm used to. I feel like that would be really the worst of both worlds for me, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I feel like the 72 is going to have a slow acceleration. It's going to have a good coast, but if you're skating freestyle, I don't know that you need that. For me, like a freestyle frame should be probably around 60 millimeters, and you want to have a quick acceleration because you're charging to a ledge or you're charging to a rail or something like that. I don't know that you need a 72. Again, I don't skate freestyle, so I don't know what that's really good for. But yeah, I'd be really curious what you like about that frame, and obviously leave me a comment or send me a message if you want to chat a little bit more. I love learning, and I'd be happy to share what I've learned in the next episode. Mark Weaver, I would love to know the team of 50/50 and what 50/50 has in mind for the future. I can tell you a little bit. I'm working on the website update, 5050frames.com. There is a team section. It will have the entire roster with videos and profile on each of the riders. Currently, I think there's 8 riders. We have a lot of people that I flow product to. I have admiration for a lot of skaters out there. And whether contractually or it just isn't a good fit, I always want to make sure that if anybody who I admire their skating is at all interested in skating the frames, I'd love to talk to them and see if that's something that they want to try. I am in this to make the best products, and I have no problem with people skating the frames, saying that they're not for them, and then going on their merry way, Um, there are a few people, though, who I've been able to send product to that I've talked to that said that these frames or these wheels are amazing and I want to keep riding them. What do you think? And we've started relationships that way. And, we'll get you the list in a couple of weeks. I want to say probably the middle of June. The website will go live. And that will be the official place to find the team information. But if you look at my Instagram, the 50/50 Frames Instagram, you can see who we follow. That's the team. There are some OGs who don't really skate anymore that we follow. And there's just people that we respect that we follow. But if you look at who we're following, that's pretty much the people that we, would put on the team. For me, a team it's a different feeling. When I started working with 50/50 back in the days, Jess was always in charge of the team. He was marketing, he was photography, he was design, he was team. And he had personal relationships with all these skaters. So it was a very different shift when I started the company kind of by myself. Jess is still around, but it's definitely my thing. Trying to rebuild those relationships and figure out what makes a good team. And for a long time, I didn't have anybody. I talked with all of the shops and I said, hey, I would love to get some product out to you guys, and if you have a local skater, I would love to start getting some feedback. Like, are these frames still good? They were designed in 2008 or 1998. Jeez Louise, 1998 is when I designed the first frames. It was a long time ago. So the balance frame as it is came out in 2002. That's a long time ago. Are they any good? Compared to current frames, they're not the same as current frames. They don't have that deep groove. They don't have that wide split for anti-rocker. They are from a different era. And it turns out that a lot of people love that era. They love the strength and rigidity of it. They love the equal spacing of the wheels. It is a great frame for skating, but you got to skate it to feel it. So I sent out a lot of product to a lot of shops, and they got me in contact with local skaters that wanted to try it out, and they liked it. So we started relationships that way. I met a bunch of skaters on Instagram or at Blading Cup or just through conversations, and I've been able to really just find people who are like-minded, who love the product and want to skate the product first and foremost. That's the most important thing. Even if we're really good friends and I love their skating, if they don't love the frames, why would they skate for the company? And that was a really difficult question. There are plenty of good frames out there, just like there's plenty of good wheels out there. And I want to make sure that people are skating for the right reason, not just to be sponsored or be on a team or whatever. I want you to enjoy skating. So if you don't like the product, nothing personal. We'll still be friends. But that's the most important thing. Skate what you love, because then you're going to go out and you're going to love skating again. Don't skate something that you hate, or endorse something and then put it in your closet and skate something else. That's not the relationship. I want to make sure that I can get you product and that you can skate the product and you're happy and I'm happy. Anyway, some announcements coming in that front with new team riders and such, but I feel like the team that we're building right now are people that I trust to portray skating in the most positive light imaginable. They're mature. They understand that skating is a hobby now. It is not a business. It is something that some people are able to make their livelihood off of, but for most of us, we have a full-time job. It is something that you do because you love it, and it is something that you do because you want more people to see how much you love it. And I've been able to find a lot of people who are, in that mindset, and they're amazing skaters. I mean, let's cut to the chase. They're amazing skaters. So, more information on the team coming probably in a couple of weeks. Product-wise, we're done with frames for the year. I came out with the yellow frames. Nothing new on that front. We're not going to come out with any other colors this year. Wheels, definitely going to continue to test. We have the 5885 out now. We're going to have the 5888 in a few weeks. Pre-orders should start soon. I don't have an announcement for that yet, but I am testing the 5888s now, and I want to see what those are like. So far, testing is really good. I want to skate them anti-rocker and see what they feel like for me. I have some other ideas for different wheel sizes. I have some other ideas for different wheel hardnesses and colors and stuff like that. So I'm going to keep exploring that. I love that we now sell a complete frame. That's been the dream for so long, that you can go to a website or you can go to a shop and say, I want the 50/50. And it's just, here's the frame, here's the bearings, here's the wheels. Boom, you're fully set up. I love that. And I want to continue exploring that. I want to keep working with different wheels, different configurations to see what works best. Maybe the 58 profile that I have doesn't work great for anti-rocker. Maybe I need something wider. Maybe I need something rounder. I don't know. I've only skated them flat. So I'm going to take them out and skate them anti-rocker tomorrow and see what they feel like. Who knows? But I'm going to continue investing in that. I think that wheels are a lot of fun. I think that wheels are something that everybody needs. You wear out. You don't have a problem investing a little bit of money in trying new wheels. And maybe they like my wheels. Again, it's harder for people to like a product if they don't skate the product. So getting wheels out there, having people have access to wheels, try them, see if they like them, and if they like them, maybe they'll stick with them. If they don't like them, it's fine, no big deal. Backpack is in customs now. It should be clearing any day now, I hope. And then it's going to take a week to get to me, and then I'll be shipping them out. I was hoping to ship by this weekend. It's not going to happen. Maybe next weekend. I talked with the freight company this morning. Still hasn't cleared customs. I don't know what's taking so long. But that's that. And what else? Clothing and stuff like that. We're still going to do clothing line. Slowly but surely adding different clothing items as we do new product releases. I think that's the time to do it. Easier for shipping, if you want a new shirt, get them with your new wheels, get them with your new backpack or something like that. That's really it. So a few surprise projects that I'm working on. I don't have a date on, but I'm really interested in how they perform. Obviously, I test everything in public. So when I do get new stuff to test, you'll hear about it here first, and you'll see me skating on the YouTube and on the Instagram. I love getting feedback from people. If I build a product and it sucks, they will tell me very quickly that this is not good, this is not a good idea, you don't want this. Or if it's something that they want, I can see the replies, I can see the comments, and I can see people who want it. It's a really good way for me to get in front of people and talk with customers and learn what they want. I wouldn't have come out with that 88A wheel. I'm happy with the 85. I wouldn't have come out with an 88A wheel unless customer says, hey, I feel like 85 is too soft for me. I'm a bigger guy. I want something that's a little harder. All right, let's get it a little harder. And then we'll find something that works for everybody. So absolutely love that. Love being part of the community. This is why I do this show. I love talking with people. I love learning and sharing ideas. So that will always continue. But yeah, bright future for 50/50. I'm really, really excited. Sponsoring a lot of competitions and events this year. I will be at Blading Cup. I will be at What Year Is It? If you are at any of those events, please stop by and say, hey, would love to talk to you and share some of the new 50/50 stuff. I talked for a long time. Mike Magruder, how much do you feel like your cardio has improved since you started this channel? I just started skating again after 18 years, and that heart rate is going way up there. Yes. Yes, it does. Cardio is the biggest thing that hinders my skating. I skate for about an hour, and I skate really hard because usually I skate by myself. And that means that when I'm at the skate park, I just drop in and I skate, and then I come up. And usually there's not a lot of people at the skate park. So I drop in again, and I drop in again, I drop in again, and I skate pretty much nonstop for that hour. If you go back, one of the cool things about YouTube is, I've been doing this channel for a little over 2 years now. And one of the coolest things about YouTube is that you can go back to the beginning, and you can see all of my videos from the beginning, and you can see those first videos and how tired I was. That hasn't changed. I'm still pretty tired. Now, my muscles are different, so I don't get sore as much anymore. I used to get really sore after skating. I don't get sore as much anymore, but my cardio, my heart rate, definitely, it's still pretty rough. Skating for, 30 minutes nonstop is a hard thing to do. One thing that I did find works is when I was doing the trail skating, with my with these big 125s. When I was doing the trail skating, that felt really good, and I had really good cardio then, and I was skating every week. I need to start doing that again. I think my body would feel better if I were skating more distance. I think that my legs would be stronger. Again, just getting that heart rate up and having it as a sustained higher BPM is a really important thing for health. And if you can do that at least once a week, maybe twice a week, your body will last longer. And that's important. I got into this because I wanted to stay in shape. I feel like any cardio that you do is good cardio. Don't push yourself though. There's no ESPN cameras tracking you. There's no Dave Payne coming at you with a VG camera. It's different now. You're out there having fun. If your heart starts pumping too much, take a break. Get yourself some water and just chill. It will get better. And so I wear an Apple Watch whenever I skate. I like to track my heart rate, and I look at my exercise, and I like to see over time, without me doing anything, over time, am I improving? It's just a data thing. I'm a data nerd. I'm a software developer. So I love looking at the data and trying to make educated decisions. What changed? Did I have a couple drinks the night before and then the next day skate in the morning? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Turns out it's probably not a good thing. What will make me have the best performance on the skate park, and how much am I improving week over week? So I don't know if that answers your question. Definitely, high heart rate is a thing. You're older, and skating is a pretty intense workout, especially if you're skating aggressive, especially if you're doing transitions. Mini ramp, geez, man, try to hit 5 walls and not fall over because you're so tired. It's really hard. Especially, I'm 42, dude. Like, that's a lot of work for anybody, but let alone, you get a little older and your body just doesn't work that way. But keep at it. Your muscles will get stronger, your heart will get stronger, you're going to breathe better, and, you're going to lose weight, you're going to feel great. So glad that you're back. I think, definitely when you go out and skate, tag me on the Instagram so that I can see what you're up to. And, let's keep track of that heart rate and make sure that it's improving. I don't see why it won't. I've got so many questions I need to fly through. Angela, what configuration do I plan with the rocker on the mushroom blading? I'm probably going to do banana, which is the middle 2 down, the outside's up. I think that's the smartest, at least to start, and see what that feels like. And then I might put the outsides in and down, which will probably give me a 1 mil rocker, and try that. That's the goal, at least to start. But the wheelbase is so long, I kind of need that banana rocker so that I have more turning radius. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like I'm on like train tracks, and that's not great. Mike Magruder, do you use the optional heel pads in your USD Aeons? I don't use the optional ones. I do use the normal shocks, the ones with the little fingers that stick out on the sides. I know there's some optional ones. I like having a low, like K2 style lean back feel. I don't like having that lean forward feel like I got in the rollerblade New Jacks. So I don't think an extra heel pad will do me any favors. Hardcore inliner, thank you, kind words. Yes, 50/50 is a great frame. I mean, I think that it was one of the first frames that was designed by skaters who knew what we were doing. It is, it's of course it's personal to me, but the only reason I brought it back is because I wanted to skate them, and then when I said that I was going to bring a few frames back, the response was overwhelming. And I love being back. I love being part of the aggressive community. I love being part of the skating community. And it really means a lot. John, oh great. Okay, so got a response from John about the freestyle. I love the wheel size and stability of larger anti-freestyle frames for gap and flip tricks. I just don't like the sloppy feeling of a freestyle groove on rails. Yeah, I'm much more of an aerial skater than a grinder blader. Got it. I would definitely, so this Kaiser fluid, I really liked this frame. This is the Kaiser fluid that came on my USD 7s. The material is really good. It felt good. It felt good grinding. I don't know how big this wheel can fit. My money would be on a 62. You could go with a Featherlight. This is the Featherlight 3. You could buy these anywhere for pretty cheap. These are the frames that come on all the Razor's skates. So there's a lot of them out there that people just swap off for boot onlys. I would probably get myself a set of these. See, they're about the same. I think these Kaisers are a little longer, but the groove on the Kaiser is much wider and much longer. I think you'd really like these Kaiser fluids. They're designed for anti-rocker. You can't really skate them flat. I don't know how big the wheel is, though, that you can fit. I could try a ruler, but it's not really going to tell me all that much. So from the axle to the tip, it looks like it's like a 32. So maybe you could fit a 62 mil wheel in here. Maybe a 64 if you had something ground out up there. Maybe 65 if you wanted to adjust your sole plate. I would definitely give these a shot, though. I really liked them. So Kaiser fluids, that's what I would recommend. Brian Allison, will the 88 wheels still be black with the same design as 85A? They will still be black. It will be a very similar design. I won't reveal it, but yeah, this is the 85, the 5885. It will look very similar to this. Slightly different color. I really love what Dead did with colors designating the different hardnesses. I'm going to borrow that. I think the lowriders back in the Senate days had different colors for the hubs, for the different hardnesses, and I don't know if that's where Dead got the idea, but I think it's the right idea. I wouldn't say that Dead came out with the idea. Definitely Senate had it before anybody. But I think that's the right idea. Different colors so that you can tell. But I really love this design. It's really subtle. It doesn't say much. It's just, you know, the brand and the color and the size. They will be black on black. I think black on black is a really good color. I'm experimenting with white just so that I can have pictures of white. I will make a white wheel in the future, but it's not going to be for this run. All right. I think I am done. Guamtech, have you ever thought about trying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or MMA? No. All right. I think that's good. 10, hour and 12 minutes? That's pretty good. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If I didn't get to your question, I apologize. Please leave a comment in the video or feel free to hit me up on Facebook or on Instagram, and I would be more than happy to chat. If you had questions about anything that I covered in tonight's show, same thing, let me know. I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. I'm planning on going skating tomorrow, skating these skates anti-rocker and see how that feels, and then hopefully get out and do some testing on the 110s this weekend. So I have some 110 mil wheels that I've been sitting on from Compass that I really want to skate, but I haven't really had an opportunity. I hope to have an opportunity this weekend. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, get out and skate. It's almost summer. It's going to start getting hotter, so you don't have a lot of time. Get out and skate this weekend if you can. Thanks again for watching. See you guys.